Hello to everyone. Good morning there. Good evening here. It's a very good pleasure to have you here talking about the market of Mexico. The market of Mexico is a very interesting market, and right now it's more interesting than ever in the retail market because the retail market is growing so much in the last 3 years because of the environment of the government. I want to share my screen to start my presentation. Okay, that is me. My name is Juan Carlos Guerrero, as I was introduced, and this is my email, so you can ask any question after the presentation with any problem. I will be glad to answer it as soon as possible. So I was introduced, so I only going to add that in my last period in the pharmaceutical companies, within the pharmaceutical companies, I was the country manager for Ferrer. That Ferrer is a Spanish company, and at last the commercial director for Nel Pharma, that is a national company. As I was introduced, I worked in the retail. I worked in public market, and I know it very much for the 27 years I have in these markets. So this is the agenda as a whole. First, I will talk about a little bit about the market landscape. Then I will talk about the market channels that are in Mexico that is so peculiar and is a little bit different from other countries. The other players that are important too, and how the companies organize the sales teams, and how the promotion is made in Mexico to promote the products in the prescription products mainly. And afterwards, I will give some conclusions that I name it conclusions, but there are opportunities and threats that we have right now in this market. As an introduction, I have to say that in Mexico, the government, we have elections every 6 years, elections for president. So as in a presidential system, this presidential system normally change everything every 6 years. Right now, we are in the 3rd year of this president, and this president has a lot of things of change. He's changing the public products buy, so that they are not buying products from all the companies. They are buying products through the WHO of the UN. So mainly in public market right now, there are a lot of products, generics from countries like China or like India. So it's a great opportunity for retail, because retail is growing so much due to the inefficient public health system that we are having right now. So right now we will start talking about the market landscape and talking about the trend of the market that we are having in the last 3 years of the Mexican market. So the Mexican pharmaceutical market landscape. Right now, as you can see in this slide, there is a share of 70% of retail market products sales and 30% of public sales. This is not in the last 5 years. It's changing right now so much because public government is not buying, so the public share is decreasing a lot, but retail is increasing, and we will see in the next slide that how much is increasing. As you can see in the left part of the slide, there are values, and the three last years, this graph is divided in public, retail, and private hospitals. All the trend, all the growth is driven by the retail market. That is the green one. As you can see, we have mostly 11.5% of average growth in the last 3 years. But in units, due to the public market, is decreasing a lot in units. So the average price in the market is growing up too. So this is the first one, the first slide that you can see where the retail market is growing so much, and it's a great opportunity right now in the retail market. In the next slide, you can see that retail market only, and it is divided only in prescription products, that is the obscure green, and OTC products, that is the light green. And obviously, as you can see, the growth in the prescription products are growing so much, and given the growth of the products and the market in this retail pharma market in Mexico. In units is the same. In units in the retail, in the prescription products, they are growing, but not so fast than the values, because of the average price. So this is very interesting, because right now is a great opportunity to have products in the prescription sector or segment. Which are the 15 main corporations in Mexico? As you can see in this slide, the leader of the market is Sanofi. Sanofi has more than 5% of market share. And you can see there that is Pfizer, that is Astra, that is Novartis, all the very known companies in the world. But with a blue arrow, I put all the national companies. This is very interesting, because the national companies here in Mexico doesn't investigate new products. They all have licenses of molecules, and they commercialize these products in the Mexican market. Normally, products of companies worldwide that doesn't have representation in Mexico, or molecules that are not in the Mexican market, from other countries, from other companies, and from other kind of corporations. So as you can see there, the four companies signed with a blue arrow are companies that could be a very good partner for companies worldwide. Before I continue with my presentation, I would like to have some definitions in Mexico for some products. In the prescription market, we have three kinds of products in the retail that are generics, branded generics, and brands. Generics is out of patent products normally. They are commercialized without a brand, just only the molecule in the box. And mostly they are commercialized by national companies. They are accepted by the government to sell in the public hospitals. So they can buy, the government can buy these products for public hospitals. But they have controlled price. So they are cheap products and very general disease products. The other ones, branded generics, are out of patent products. They're branded, so the company that commercialize this kind of products are branded, and they are only for private market and could be commercialized by any company. Any company can make this kind of generic with a brand, and you have free price, so you can put the price you need to obtain the benefits. And of course, the other is the brands with innovation and innovator products. So these definitions would help you to understand the next slides. Talking about generics and branded generics and brands, as you can see here in the left side, in values, we are growing, as I showed you before, but the growth is driven by brands. And the second winner in these products are the branded generics. So you can and of course you can have any price, and the average price is normally well accepted by the audience or by the public. In units is the same. You can see that the brands and the branded generics maintain a growth not so aggressive, but generics has a lot of growth with a cheapest price. All the data that I'm showing you is obtained by IQVIA. IQVIA is as you know, the most audited of the pharmacies, and they make this forecast for the next 5 years. In this forecast, as you can see, they are forecasting a 7% growth average in the next 5 years, and this gives you a CAGR or a cumulative growth of 20 or 25%. So this is the moment where retail market is growing more in the last 20 years. So it's a very good opportunity to be in this market with this circumstance. In which therapeutic classes are? And as you can see, the most important therapeutic class is digestive and metabolics. And there is diabetes, there are all the metabolic disease. The second is nervous system. The third is cardiovascular. And the fourth is anti-infectives. But anti-infective is normally not so important. It's because of the pandemic that anti-infectives are growing so much in this period. So with these 4 classes, as you can see, you have more than 45% of the share of the classes that has in the retail pharma market in Mexico. Okay, let's move to another part for your understanding of the pharmaceutical Mexican market. There are a lot of channels. Channels, what I mean for channels? Channels are the pharmacies or the point of sales where you can buy the product. In Mexico, you have a lot of different kind of pharmacies. You can have the pharmacies that are in the supermarkets, the pharmacies that are in of a big chains of pharmacies that has presence nationwide, and independent pharmacies that everybody can have a pharmacy here and start to sell products. So here's the explanation. Independence, like any kind of person can have a pharmacy and can start to sell the products, pharmaceutical products. Big chains like Farmacias del Ahorro that is in the center of the screen. That is a pharmacy that has a lot of point of sales, a lot of pharmacies nationwide, and they have more than 1,000 point of sales in Mexico. And there is a characteristic right now that this kind of pharmacies have, that they have physicians' offices. So the public or people can go to the pharmacy, can consult a physician there, and the physician make a prescription, and then they get out of the office and can buy the products. This kind of model is used to by the regional chains. The regional chains like San Pablo that is in the top has 2 offices with physicians there, so they can have the prescriptions and the selling of the products. And the last one is the supermarket, like Walmart or other one. And they have the pharmacies in the supermarkets, and we will see how they perform in these years. Right now, in the left side, you can see in the blue one that the big chains, the 56% of the share of the sales in the pharmacies are in big chains. And the second importance are the regional chains and then independents. And in the right side, you can see that the big chains only have more than 5,000, almost 6,000 pharmacies. But the independents are almost 20,000 points of sales or pharmacies. So big chains sells a lot, but independents are a big number of pharmacies in the country. This is the growth of pharmacies by each of the channels. If you can see in orange, you have supermarkets. Supermarkets are not growing in pharmacies, so they maintain a little bit the number of pharmacies. You can see below in light blue, the independent pharmacies. There is a lot more of independent pharmacies. People in the pandemic start to open a lot of pharmacies. In the right, in blue too, there's the big chains. The big chains are opening a lot of pharmacies too. So they are gaining market share with this number of point of sales or pharmacies. And in green, you have the regional. The regional are not growing in points of sales, so they are maintaining and decreasing in some cases. These are data of March 2021 and compared with January of 2020. So they are growing so fast in almost 1.5 years. If we see the momentum of the pandemic right now, you can see that we have in the last 3 years a lot of peak sales due to the pandemic. If you see in the center, they are signed with an arrow, with a white arrow. There are some peak sales in March of 2020. The first peak sales is because of the declaration of the pandemic in Mexico. So there's a lot of sales of products in there. And the next two ones is the new waves of the pandemic. And the last is in this year, due to the last wave we have in the pandemic. So we are in a very dynamic market right now because of that. But if you take out the peak sales, you can see that the trend is still very positive. Okay, this is only to explain what I said before. In blue, we have the market in yellow, and then we have the blue with the big chains of pharmacies that are growing a lot in point of sales and in sales. And then we have regional chains, and then we have the independent pharmacies. The only player that is losing sales are the supermarkets. supermarkets are losing share of sales in Mexico in pharmaceutical products only. So if you would see this matrix, you can see in the X's that this the variation of market share, and in the Y's the growth of the growth compared with the year before. The big chains are growing a lot and they have a lot of sales. And the independents are growing a lot, but the sales are not so important. So the big winner in this market and the big channel that is growing and having a lot of sales right now is the big chains. How is the contribution constructed with this in these chains? Is only another way to see the growth. The big chains in blue are the most important. Then we have the independents. Then we have the other channels. Other channels are little stores in little towns. And then regional chains and the decrease of the supermarkets. So this is the construction of the contribution of the market growth. What about generics? Generics are market gained to 0.8 market share points versus the branded products. This is from January to April of 2021, compared with the same period in 2019. But remember, the generics has a very cheap price, and they have to sell more units to obtain a good value. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about how it's constructed, or how are the sales made from the companies to the pharmacies. Normally we have wholesalers or distribution companies. They're nationwide distributors, like this one that you can see, Marsam, Nadro, Fanasa, and Maipo. And they sell the products for independent companies, for independent pharmacies, for regional pharmacies, and a little bit for the big chains. But they sell for everything. Normally, the companies sell the product to the distributors. The distributors or the wholesalers add 15% or 16% to the price. And then these distributors or wholesalers add about a 5% or 6% to the pharmacies. So between the companies and the point of sales, you have more or less a 20% difference of the price. And they sell to public hospitals and private hospitals. So they have all the nationwide distribution of products in Mexico. There are insurance companies and banks. These insurance companies, what they make is, as any insurance company in the world, they have their insurance to pay the products or the physicians. They have some product lists that they can pay. So the companies try to be in this product list to be paid by these insurance companies. The people don't pay the product, they pay the insurance only. They have the physicians networks. So the physicians that are in this list of the insurance can prescribe only the products that are in the product lists. And these insurances companies direct pay to the pharmacies. So it's another player that is important to have. And the last one is the private hospitals. Private hospitals in Mexico are very important because they have, remember that what I said starting my lecture, the public health system in Mexico is very inefficient. So people go to private hospitals. And these private hospitals are very important groups. For example, Ángeles Group, Hospital Ángeles, has 28 hospitals nationwide. Just take into account that Mexico we have 32 states and 32 big capitals. So in almost each of the capitals of the states, they have a hospital. The second one is Christus Muguerza, that only have hospitals in the north part of Mexico. And then Star Medica Group that has in almost all the country. And the other ones are local or regional, but they are very important. Okay, let's talk about how companies or how corporations construct their sales force or their sales people to attend all these kind of offices. Normally, these companies has a primary care sales force, a specialist sales force, a private hospital sales force, a public hospital sales force. The big ones, the big companies like Sanofi, like Pfizer, like Novartis or Astra, they have the four ones, the four sales forces, and they attend the different markets. The little ones, they have to specialize or in primary care or in specialists or in hospitals. So they have to choose which are the ones that they are going to attend. And it's very important here to know something. Primary care for the sales companies or the companies normally use for their promotion a visual aid that is in an iPad normally. They give free samples. The market in Mexico is a very peculiar because these free samples I know that it's not very usual in other countries, but this is a presentation with one or two tablets or capsules to start the treatment. So the reps goes to the physician and give these free samples to the physicians. And these free samples, the physicians give to the patients to start the treatment, and then they have to buy the rest of the treatment. And they gave gimmicks. They give gimmicks as pens or notebooks or any gimmick that can be used in the consultancy only, because the compliance politics in Mexico right now are very hard. So you cannot give anything. You can only give something that they can use in their diary or in daily practice. With the specialists, they use the visual aids in the iPad. They use scientific materials, for example, Congress magazines, gimmicks, and they give free samples too. So it's very important for a company in Mexico to have registered this presentation of product that only have one or two capsules or treatments. Then we have the sales force that go to private hospitals. They only go with visual aids in the iPad. They have scientific materials and gimmicks. And the public hospitals that are managed by the government, you can only use visual aids and gimmicks. So it's very important to know how it's managed the promotion, because you have to have these kind of things to be competitive versus other companies. Okay, let's talk about the last part, the conclusions and what I named the opportunities and threats. As you saw in all the presentation, the opportunities that we have is that we are in a growing market. The forecast is that we will have sustained growth in for the next 5 years. The retail market right now is leading the growth. So if you want to get into the market, to the Mexican market, it's better to be right now in the retail than in the public. It's very competitive. As you saw, we have 15 main companies with presence in Mexico, but there are more than 300 companies in Mexico. So it's very big and competitive. As I told you a lot of times, we have an inefficient public health system. So the people will go to the retail to buy the products. They prefer to go to the pharmacist physician than to go to the public right now. So it is very important to know that exists this system in Mexico. There are a lot of space for products in retail right now, not only in the innovative or the investigation, but in the branded generics and generics. A lot of companies right now in Mexico are selling molecules of other companies. They represent other companies to sell these kind of molecules as a generic or as a branded generic. But there are threats. And the threats are right now the government are very strict, a very strict policy to buy only cheap products. So they are using a lot of systems and they are putting a lot of locks to know how to buy the cheapest option of the product. And because of the pandemic and because of the new government that we have the last 3 years, the population acquisitive level is decreasing. The inflation index right now is about 6%. In the last one, we have the last month. In the last year, we have 3%. So the people can buy less things with more money. And at the end, there is a lot of the institution that gives registrations in Mexico is COFEPRIS, as I mentioned here. In COFEPRIS right now is very slow to register new products. So it is a threat that you can have a product, try to register this product right now, and you will obtain registration normally 18 to 24 months after. So the velocity is not so good. That is not normal. In the past, we only have 12 months average to register the product. So this is the opportunities and threats I see, and I think that is the thing I have. So this is my presentation. I hope this presentation or this lecture illustrate you how the market in Mexico is managed, how the channels are important, who are the players of this market, and what are the opportunities and threats that you can have in this market right now. So thank you for the attention, and I am ready for your questions.